It's a Romeo and Juliet story of teenage romance ending in tragedy. 16-year-old Emma Walker was an honor student and cheerleader on a championship-winning high school squad.
A story of young high school love, ending in heartbreak and murder, with a little bit of suicide attempts in between. This is the tragic story of Emma Walker, whose life was taken all too soon from her. Join us as we uncover the shocking and tragic story in this video. On Friday nights in the fall at Central High School in Knoxville, Tennessee, the football stadium lights up and two teams battle on the field while fans dressed in red and black cheer for their home team, the Bobcats. Every Friday, the whole school is excited to see how we perform. It's the center of our school life, said Seth Armstrong, a recent graduate and former team player. It's really thrilling. At the forefront of the crowd, the marching band and cheerleaders keep the energy up. Back in 2014, a new member joined the cheerleading squad, Emma Walker, a spirited 14-year-old freshman. Emma was really dedicated to cheerleading, said Lauren Hutton, a senior who became good friends with Emma. She truly enjoyed it. It was something she was passionate about. She loved leading and being part of the excitement during football games. During that early autumn, Emma Walker's cheerleading performances on the sidelines caught the attention of an older student known as number 8, Riley Gaul, who was a junior and a wide receiver for Central High. Riley Gaul was raised by his mother and grandparents, and he was a good student who also enjoyed playing video games. His friends saw him as someone who liked to make jokes, and he didn't fit the typical jock stereotype. He had a bit of a nerdy side, said Zach Green, one of Emma's friends. He was a bit reserved. If you looked from the outside, you'd think he was just a regular guy. When Emma's parents first met Riley Gaul, they had a positive impression of him. He seemed like a nice young man, like the boy next door, Emma's mother, Jill Walker, said. He was polite and friendly when we first met him. He was easy to like. Mark Walker, Emma Walker's father, thought Riley Gaul was a good-looking and polite young man. He allowed them to spend time together with supervision, often at their house or meeting up after football games for meals and such. Emma Walker's friends noticed her initial happiness with Gaul. Her social media posts started showing many pictures of them paddleboarding, hugging, and taking playful selfies. In one of her posts, Emma wrote, "Look how lucky I am." At the start, their relationship seemed pretty normal, as observed by Keegan Lyle, one of Emma's close friends. "Gaul didn't talk to us, her friends, very much," Keegan said. "I just thought, oh, he's just shy." It felt okay, but after a while, we started getting worried. Emma's friends became concerned as they noticed that Gaul seemed to want Emma to spend time only with him and not with others. He began controlling her, deciding what she could do and what activities she could be a part of, Keegan explained. He became more possessive and clingy towards her, and he wouldn't allow her to do certain things, added Lauren Hutton. In the following 2 years, Walker and Gaul appear to be like that classic high school couple, the type that frequently breaks up and then gets back together. Their friends witnessed very dramatic arguments between them, often occurring through text messages or Snapchat posts. Jill Walker mentioned that Gaul always had something to say about her daughter's clothing choices, advising her on what to wear or not. It got to a point where Jill had to talk to Emma about it. Later, according to Lauren Hutton, the relationship between the two became intense. Gaul started waiting for Walker outside the supermarket where she worked. He would just wait outside for hours, Hutton explained. Lyle said friends tried to tell Walker that they were concerned about how Gaul treated her, but she just sort of ignored it, Lyle said. She did her own thing. According to Walker's friends, Gaul's behavior turned aggressive. He sent her hurtful Snapchat messages like, "I hate you, I hate everything about you, and you're the biggest mean person I've ever met." One message in particular worried Walker's mother. Gaul wrote, "You're dead to me. I'll check the obituary. You." On one occasion, we saw a message that said, "I'll see your name in the obituary," Jill Walker recalled. "We asked him about it, and he said, 'I was just really mad.' That's when more warning signs started showing." Walker's parents decided to stop Gaul from coming to their house and took away their daughter's cell phone in an attempt to prevent them from communicating. However, this didn't work. Riley gave Emma an iPad Touch, and she texted him using the Wi-Fi, explained Seth Armstrong, a friend of Walker's. For every hurtful message Gaul sent, there was also a quick apology. One message from Gaul said, "Emma, I'm sorry for how I act." Another message stated, "I love you more than I can express in words." Jill Walker, along with her husband, had advised their daughter to break up with Gaul multiple times. However, they found that as they clashed with their teenager about it, Emma began to side more with Gaul. He had a way of making her feel like he was the only one who understood her. By the time fall of 2016 rolled around, Emma Walker and Gaul were still a couple. Gaul, who had graduated, was now an 18-year-old freshman at a nearby college. Meanwhile, Emma was in her junior year of high school. Despite her parents' efforts to separate them, their rocky relationship persisted. Around Halloween that same year, Emma's parents decided to ground her. She wasn't allowed to leave the house, except for school and cheerleading practice. They kept a close watch on her movements, and surprisingly, it seemed to have a positive effect. Emma started acting like her old self again, noted her father, Mark Walker. She would come out of her room, have dinner with us, and engage in conversations. Emma even sent a text to her friend Keegan Lyle, saying that she and Gaul were done for good. She realized that she deserved better, Lyle recalled. "We were all so relieved and excited. We had been waiting for this moment." However, Gaul didn't handle the breakup well. In his college dorm room, he ingested a large number of Vicodin pills and combined them with alcohol in a suicide attempt, and even his friends noticed his changing moods. He would be off by himself, seeming down, and saying things like, "I'm so depressed, I want to harm myself." You know, things like that, Gaul's friend Alex McCarty recalled. It seemed like he was asking for help in his own way. Then on Friday, November 18th, 2016, Walker got permission to go to a gathering at a friend's house. Around 11:30 p.m. that night, her classmate Zach Green came to the house where they were hanging out. Walker took him aside and shared that she had been getting strange text messages from an unfamiliar number. "Zach, I'm receiving these really weird texts that say, 'Come outside alone if you don't want someone you love to get hurt,'" Green recounted. She showed him her phone to prove it. "Go to your car with your keys," read one text. Then another said, "Go alone." Yet another said, "I have someone you care about. If you don't do as I say, I'll harm them." Green mentioned that Walker believed it might be a prank by one of Gaul's friends. She texted back, mentioning the possibility of calling the police. However, the text messages took a darker turn, Green explained. "If you want to hear him cry and scream, give him a call," read one message. Green stated that Walker began pleading with him for assistance until she finally told him, "Zach, listen, they said they left Riley outside." He and Walker ventured outside, and indeed, they found a body lying face down in a ditch near the house, illuminated by the streetlight. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was Gaul. As they approached Gaul, he raised his head with a bewildered expression, his demeanor appearing confused. Emma questioned him, asking why he was there, to which he responded incoherently. Gaul claimed not to know how he arrived, suggesting he had been kidnapped and dropped off without understanding his surroundings. His actions seemed odd, holding his head as if he had been hit. Emma felt uneasy and uncertain about the situation. She conveyed her desire for him to leave, mentioning their recent breakup. Gaul seemed disheartened and walked away by himself. He contacted his friend Noah Walton, claiming he had been abducted. However, Walton doubted his story, describing Gaul's voice as fatigued or tearful. Gaul alleged that he had been attacked, his car taken, and he was placed in a van with no knowledge of his whereabouts. He insisted Walton not involve the police and displayed reluctance toward calling 911. None of Emma's friends reported the supposed kidnapping to the authorities that night. The following morning, Emma returned home and texted her friends about a stranger at her doorstep. She expressed fear, feeling threatened by the individual dressed in black who rang her doorbell persistently. She also reached out to Gaul with mixed feelings, expressing both dislike and a need for his presence. Gaul responded, offering assistance and hurrying to reach her. When Emma failed to meet her mother as planned that morning, Jill Walker returned home to find Emma and Gaul in the front yard. Jill requested Gaul's departure, reminding him of his prohibition from the property. Although visibly shaken, Emma suspected the stranger might have been a burglar or a potential stalker. Jill, however, questioned the repeated involvement of Gaul in such incidents. Jill expressed her doubts to Emma, suggesting that Gaul's actions were an exaggerated attempt to gain her attention. Concerned for her safety, Jill and her family closely monitored Emma's movements, even observing her while she worked. By Sunday night, the situation appeared to have normalized at the Walker residence. Emma engaged in a conversation with her friend Keegan Lyle about a homework assignment before retiring for the night, a little after midnight. Around 6 a.m. on Monday, November 21st, 2016, Jill Walker entered her daughter's room, but couldn't wake her up. Emma Walker's lifeless state became evident, and Jill immediately called 911 for help. Police were dispatched to the Walker residence. Initially considered a possible suicide, the presence of a bullet hole in the wall suggested otherwise. It was a small hole about the size of a pen. Additionally, 2 shell casings were found outside, indicating that 2 shots had been fired from the outside into Emma's bedroom. She had been fatally shot in the head, with 1 bullet hitting behind her left ear and the other lodging in her pillow. Investigations began, and Emma's friends and family were interviewed. The name Riley Gaul emerged repeatedly, given his prior relationship with Emma and the way he treated her. Gaul expressed his grief on social media, sharing tweets and a lengthy Facebook post mourning Emma. His repetitive declarations of love raised suspicions. Following Emma's death, Gaul's friends disclosed a secret he had shared with them regarding his fear for his life. He had shown a stolen gun to a friend out of fear for his safety. Detectives questioned Gaul about his whereabouts over the past few days. During the interrogation, Gaul referred to Emma as the girl and exhibited an emotionless demeanor. He recounted attempting to contact Emma, but their interactions were strained. Gaul's actions and words during the interview seemed calculated and detached. Gaul described his feelings of distress after the breakup, spending time at his grandparents' house and later breaking down in his car at college. Despite his account of emotional turmoil, his demeanor remained distant and rehearsed, prompting detectives to be skeptical of his sincerity. Detectives learned that Riley Gaul, an acquaintance of Emma's, had shown a gun to his friend Alex McCarty, who later shared this information with the police. Gaul's grandfather had reported the gun missing from his car, and detectives inquired about it during their questioning of Gaul. During the questioning, Gaul denied knowledge of the gun's whereabouts and refuted showing it to McCarty. He also denied asking his friend Noah Walton about removing fingerprints from a gun. Gaul became defensive when detectives asked to examine his cell phone and questioned whether he was a suspect. Following Gaul's departure from the sheriff's office, he messaged McCarty, expressing concern about McCarty's disclosure of the gun to the police and urging his friends not to cooperate with law enforcement. Walton and McCarty, believing that Gaul was withholding the truth, collaborated with the police in a sting operation to retrieve the potential murder weapon. Equipped with microphones, a transmitter, and a concealed video camera, the 2 teens assisted in recovering evidence, including the gun, gloves, and black clothing. This operation led to Gaul's arrest. At his trial, his defense attorney argued that Gaul had fired the gun in an attempt to scare Emma and gain her attention, asserting that he never intended to cause harm. Gaul was found guilty of first-degree murder, stalking, theft, reckless endangerment, and possession of a firearm during a dangerous felony. He was sentenced to life in prison.
The first defined offense, charging the defendant with first-degree murder. Did the jury reach a verdict?
Yes, we did.
What is your verdict?
Guilty.
Emma's mother, Jill Walker, hopes that her daughter's tragic story can serve as a warning to others about the dangers of controlling and tumultuous relationships. She emphasizes the importance of recognizing signs of emotional and controlling behavior in relationships and encourages kindness towards others. In memory of Emma, her family has worked to honor her legacy by contributing to meaningful causes, such as a dog park and a NICU patient room named after her. They aim to keep Emma's spirit alive by spreading kindness and raising awareness about unhealthy relationships.